Good morning, everyone. This is Friday, the 12th of February, and our final English lesson for this term. We've had a really great term with your English lessons, and I'm just really pleased with all the work that you've sent in. It's been excellent, so well done, everybody. You will notice some Olympic-inspired artwork on the front screen today. So before we get on with what our task is, we have to do a spelling test. So this is the final spelling test on the OUGH letter string. Okay, so we are going to be thinking about 10 spellings. Make sure that you have got your pen and paper ready, and I will be reading them out. Okay, number 1, ought, ought. Number 2, fought, fought. Number 3, through, through. Number 4, dough, dough. Number 5, thought, thought. Number 6, plough, plough. Number 7, brought, brought. Number 8 is enough, enough. Number 9 is borough, borough. And number 10 is naught, naught. Okay, remember our OUGH has lots of those different sounds, doesn't it? So I'm going to read them out one more time. Check through what you've got and make sure you've got that OUGH in there. So number 1 is ought, then we've got fought, through, dough, thought, plough, brought, enough, borough, and naught. Okay, I'm going to do the grand reveal. So make sure you tick off the spellings that you have got correctly, and maybe have a little look and see if there was one you got incorrect. Did you muddle up something there? So very well done. Pause the video and tick those off. Okay, so today, to finish up as a summing up of everything that we've learned this week, you are going to write a poem based on an Olympic sport. Now, if it's not an Olympic sport and it's a sport you particularly like, that's also absolutely fine. But I just thought to tie it in with the Greeks a bit, we could do Olympic sports. You might want to do a sport that was specific to the Greek Olympics. So it could be the specific type of boxing they had, or it could be chariot racing, or a marathon, or something like that. So it's completely up to you. It can be Olympic sport from modern day, from ancient Greek times, or just a sport that you want to write about, okay? And you've got a lot of freedom today. You are free to decide what style of poem you would like to write. So you might want your poem to rhyme. It doesn't have to rhyme, of course, but you might want your poem to rhyme. You might want to do an acrostic poem. So write the name of your sport down the side, and each line needs to begin with that letter from the word. And you might want to do a shape poem. So I'm going to show you some examples of all of these different styles of poems, and then we're going to have a little think about what you could do for your poem, okay? So here's an example of an acrostic poem for basketball. So do you see how basketball is written down the side, and for each beginning letter, that is how you start your sentence off, okay? So it could be basketball, you could have javelin, you could have discus, you could do a couple of them, couldn't you? So basketball, we've got for B, bounce the ball with your head up. Across the court, passes don't work. Shoot if you're open. Keep your mind on the game. Enjoy it while you can. Take it to the basket. Behind the back. Always use the backboard. Layups should never be missed. Learning new things can always happen. And you'll notice at the beginning of each of these lines, there is a capital letter. there aren't any full stops. Again, it's up to you how you punctuate your poem, isn't it? And this one doesn't rhyme at all. So this is purely the acrostic style, but they've also done it almost like a shape poem as well. The longer lines and then the shorter lines in the middle. So that is an example of something you might want to do. Then we've got our shape poems. So we've got one over here, and this is about a running race. And then we've got one down here in the shape of a football boot, which is really clever with that tick on it as well, with lots of different words about the sports that this person likes. So the top one says, the ceremony starts as the torch goes past the bearers, proud to be a part. So this is all about the torch at the opening ceremony. Those people proud to carry that flashing light on. And this one down here, again with your poem, you could, it's up to you. You might just want to write a few phrases about your sport. I like sports running, jumping, sports kicking, shooting, passing, any kind of sports. So they've written theirs like a football boot, which is a really creative way to show what they like about that sport. So you could do like a basketball shape or basketball net shape. You could do it in the shape of a chariot or a discus or a javelin. So the opportunities are endless. Our next option for you is a rhyming poem. Okay, so I've got two rhyming poems here. This one's called Gold Medal. So listen carefully. 2 million eyes are watching me. 1 million tongues are cheering. The fears I might have felt before are quickly disappearing. Tonight I'm feeling ready, completely on my game. My nerves are cool as Arctic ice. I'm hotter than a flame. I turn and twist and float and fly as if my arms were wings. I rise so high I touch the sky. My legs are filled with springs. I scoff and laugh at gravity, defying all its laws. With every leap, I hear the cheers, a thunderous applause. Olympic dreams of glory are soaring in my head, for I'm the best who ever lived at bouncing on my bed. So this is a bit of a twist at the beginning. This child is dreaming about being in the Olympics and imagining that everyone's watching them and cheering. And then it turns out they've almost got that Olympic gold for bouncing on their beds. Okay, so I quite like that one. Also, there's a lot of nice imagery in this one. Where have we got some here? As cool as Arctic ice, hotter than a flame, twisting and floating and flying. So you can see the rhyme as well. Me, before disappearing. So lots of these lines are rhyming throughout. Head and bed, laws and applause. So you've got that A-B rhyme scheme there. Here's one about gymnastics. You might want to do about gymnastics. Reflexes and balance, dancing in space. Gymnastics embody strength and pure grace. Dedication and heart convey the will. Long hours of practice develop the skill. On the bars or the beam, the horse or the floor, vaulting or rings, it comes down to the score. Each movement so sure and precise, and then bang, stick the landing, it's a perfect 10. And it says, great routine, nailed it, going for gold. I like that one. It's that anticipation of the floor routine in gymnastics, isn't it? They're flipping round and then they do that final pose at the end and they stand and they have to not wobble and then they've got that score at the end. So I really like that idea there. We've got space and grace and will and skill. So every 2 lines, rhyming couplets, they're rhyming together, aren't they? So we've got the A, well, that should be capital. We've got A. Oh, where's it gone? A, B, B. So every 2 lines rhyme together, unlike this one, which is A, B, A, B. On some of the verses. Okay, those 2 are possibly my favourites so far, I think. So I was thinking you could pause the video now, 5 minutes, and come up with some ideas for your poem. Now, if you're someone who's thinking, oh, I'm a bit stuck, I'm not sure, I've come up with 3 options here that you could have a go at. You could choose one of the poems that we've seen and change those around a bit, but I thought these ideas might be quite good. So you could do like a running race based poem, and your first verse can be all about the start of the race and feeling nervous and that atmosphere with the crowd. And then your middle verse is going to be all about the free feeling of running and how it's all just about the race now. And at the end, final verse about finishing. Does the person in your poem win? Do they lose? Are they just relieved for it to be over? Then I thought about gymnastics. Gymnastics would be a really great poem to write about. We've seen a good example on the other side. You could start with the silence of the crowd, then maybe think about the concentration of the gymnast, the person who's performing, and then you could have a verse about them leaping through the air. What could you compare them to? Maybe fireworks, maybe gazelles. What kind of elegant creatures could you compare them to? And then landing after that difficult tumble or whatever piece of equipment that they're using. So I thought that might be quite a cool idea. And the final one for all you people who want to do it on the Greeks and the ancient Greek Olympic theme, I was thinking about a chariot race and how you could turn that into a poem. So you could have a verse with the very beginning verse could be about the noise from the crowd, the dust, and then the middle bit would be about the dust on the horses' hooves and the noise from their hooves, building up almost like a cloud of dust following them during the race. Then you could have a bit about them taking a sharp corner and then being victorious at the end. So pause the video now and have a think. Are you going to choose one of these ideas, or are you going to jot down some ideas of your own? Just think of a couple of bullet points to start with. Give it a title. You might not know what it is, but if it's about gymnastics, just put gymnastics for now. You can always change it later. So give yourself 5 minutes and write a couple of bullet points down about the general flow of your poem. What's going to be included? Okay, so hopefully you've got some ideas there. Here is a little bit about your task. You're going to write this poem. It can be any style you like. Remember, it doesn't have to rhyme. You might want to do a rhyming poem, and that's absolutely fine as well. Here are some tips then. When, in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you to write down a list of words that are associated with your chosen sport. So for the gymnastics one, we had things like gliding through the air, spinning, landing. What kind of words do you associate verbs, nouns, adjectives with your sport that you are going to create into a poem? And then think about how you can have words from the same theme in the same verse. So if they're all really, really attacking kind of words, that might be the middle verse. That might be when you're playing the basketball game or you're running the actual race. And the words about adrenaline and nervousness are going to be at the beginning, and at the end, it might be that sense of relief, okay? And if you've got a thesaurus, you might want to use one, because if you're looking for rhyming words that mean the same thing, a thesaurus might be useful. So pause the video now and write down just a list of words. It could be 10, it could be 20 words that you associate with the sport that you are going to be writing your poem about. Okay, so hopefully you've done that now. I've got one last little example to show you. Again, if people are doing it on that theme of the chariot racing, there's a little example here that I will read out. Horses pound the circle, hearty hooves are firmly intent on swiftly surpassing their next of kin. Chariots grind their whirling wheels into substrate most soft, blindly hugging tight corners, gambling on windfall chance. So this one's all about the chariot race being like a bit of a gamble, okay? We've got hearty hooves, we've got swiftly surpassing, we've got that nice bit of alliteration there, which almost makes you feel like, it feels swift, doesn't it? It feels those, you can almost feel those hooves pounding on the ground. Okay, I'm going to go back onto this page. So it's up to you. Are you going to have it rhyming? Are you going to do an acrostic, a shape poem? Okay, I'm really looking forward to reading these. Let your imagination run wild. You can punctuate it, you can not punctuate it. You've got a lot of freedom with a poem. So, you know, it's up to you. Enjoy it, have some fun with it, and we can't wait to see them later. Goodbye.